Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive into the profound forces shaping our world. Today, we're kicking things off with a thought that's been around for centuries but feels incredibly relevant right now. It's the idea that history often repeats itself, first as tragedy, then as farce. A provocative thought, especially when you look at things like the rapid rise of AI or even some recent political events. What if these aren't entirely new, but maybe echoes of deeper, older human patterns?
That's a really crucial perspective to take, I think. We often see these moments as completely unprecedented, new challenges needing totally new solutions. But the truth might be that the underlying dynamics, the shifts in society's basic rules, the economy, how we even think about the world, well, they might be playing out through some very old philosophical and sociological lenses.
Exactly. And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We want to explore how AI and disruptive tech, even though they seem revolutionary, are actually reshaping humanity in ways that, well, thinkers from centuries ago kind of saw coming in an eerie way. We've got a stack of fascinating sources: Weber, Foucault, Simmel, Durkheim, Locke, Elias, Polanyi, names you might associate with, dusty old textbooks.
Right.
But their insights, as we'll see, are profoundly relevant to the new problems we're facing today. They help us understand the architecture of our modern anxieties, our aspirations. So, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's unpack this.
Well, what's so interesting is how these classical thinkers give us a kind of foundation, a framework for understanding not just what's happening with AI, but the deeper why it matters on a societal level. They help us see that the big questions AI raises about human nature, control, meaning, power, they aren't entirely new.
There may be intensified versions of old dilemmas.
Precisely. Intensified versions of dilemmas humanity has wrestled with for generations. It's like looking at the future through the wisdom of the past.
Okay, let's jump into our first big theme then. The disenchanted world and the rise of the instrumental person. This concept of disenchantment, it comes from Max Weber, and it feels absolutely critical for understanding modern life. For listeners maybe not familiar, what did Weber actually mean by disenchantment? Why is it so significant?
Right, so Weber's disenchantment, it's essentially about the stripping away of the mystical, the sacred, the kind of inexplicable forces from our worldview. Think about pre-modern times, your identity, your purpose, even why you suffered. It was often explained by God's will or fate or deep-rooted traditions.
Your place was sort of fixed?
Exactly. Fixed by birth, religion, social status. There was the sense of a clear, often mystical or spiritual order. The universe felt, well, alive with unseen forces and ultimate meanings.
So if I was born a farmer back then, my path was pretty much laid out, less existential dread about finding myself.
Pretty much. The narrative was largely predetermined. But in our modern disenchanted world, those old definitions are mostly gone.
The universe isn't seen as inherently meaningful or divinely ordered anymore. It's viewed more as a rational, calculable system governed by scientific laws.
Which leaves you, the individual, to kind of search for meaning on your own.
Yes, and often that search ends up focusing on your work, your professional identity. Even something like human free will, which once felt almost mystical, becomes kind of unclear in this rationalized world. We struggle to define it outside of predictable, quantifiable actions.
Reducing it to choices you can analyze and optimize?
Sort of, yeah. And that brings us to AI. How does AI fit into this disenchantment? It really feels like the ultimate rationalizing force, doesn't it?
It does, taking it to its logical extreme.
Indeed. AI accelerates this disenchantment profoundly. By rationalizing and optimizing more and more of life decision-making, creative processes that felt uniquely human, it pushes the boundaries. Things like intuition, art, complex problem-solving, they become algorithmic. AI can tell you how it got the answer, reducing even intricate human stuff to calculable steps.
So the key insight isn't just that AI is a tool.
No, it's that it's accelerating this loss of inherent, unquantifiable meaning in many areas. It pushes us to find purpose elsewhere, often outside our increasingly rationalized jobs. It reinforces the idea that maybe there's nothing truly mystical left, just data and algorithms.
Which leads us right into Weber's, frankly, chilling vision of the iron cage, and how that connects to Marx's idea of alienation. Weber predicted this world where economic rationality just expands, trapping us in this rational cage. He had that quote, "Experts have no soul, zealots have no heart." That still gives me chills. It wasn't a moral judgment, though, was it? More an observation.
Not a moral judgment at all. It's a neutral, almost clinical description of the modern specialist as an instrumental person.
Yeah.
In these highly rationalized bureaucratic systems, you're valued mostly for your function, your efficiency, following the rules, not for your passions or deep connections.
Like modern states or big companies.
Exactly. They function as these highly efficient, non-personal bureaucratic systems. Universal rules and procedures trump private relationships or individual discretion. Think government agencies, big corporations. They're designed to treat everyone the same, by the book.
Regardless of who you know.
Right. The system demands conformity to its logic.
This really reminds me of some recent high-profile political events where you saw military personnel or public servants acting purely as instrumental persons, following orders maybe without deep personal loyalty or understanding the political legitimacy.
That's a fascinating connection.
Like those young soldiers on the street, reportedly clueless about the bigger picture, just doing their duty.
Yeah.
It shows that shift, doesn't it? From power based on personal loyalty to this professional Weberian bureaucracy.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? Historically, power shifts often hinged on deep personal ties, loyalists willing to risk it all. That's pre-modern relational power. What we saw recently was more like a modern, professionalized machine running, but maybe without the social fuel.
The social fuel being broad public acceptance. Legitimacy.
Exactly. The public didn't seem to see it as a legitimate exercise of a role, maybe more like a personal reaction. The state isn't just the ruler's will anymore, it's a political management organization. Techniques, processes, and this push for professionalism, for universal rules, it turns everyone into an instrumental person, a cog.
A cog in a giant machine.
Which connects straight to Marx and Alienation. When your work is optimized within this cage, you lose that sense of personal meaning, that connection to the final thing you're making or doing. Work becomes repetitive, specialized, detached.
That explains why people say the daytime isn't yours. That feeling of needing to stay up late just to reclaim some time for yourself.
Exactly that. Staying up late just to do something that feels personally meaningful, an expression of your true self, not just your function. The insight is that modern work, despite efficiency, often drains personal meaning, creating this universal need for self-reclamation outside the job.
So how does AI intensify this? Make the alienation worse? It feels like it could.
Oh, it definitely can, on multiple fronts. By automating and optimizing even more tasks, AI can make even more roles feel instrumental, devoid of personal meaning. If AI can do the calculable stuff, even the creative tasks that used to need human effort, what's left?
The feeling of being a cog gets stronger?
It could intensify dramatically. Your work gets more segmented, process-driven, maybe evaluated by algorithms, not people. Imagine your day dictated by an AI optimizing every minute. No room for spontaneity, for your unique way of solving something. It further distances your personal meaning from your job, making work feel like just compliance.
Okay, this brings us to another key thinker, Michel Foucault, and his idea of discipline. Foucault dives into how our behavior is subtly shaped, not by force, but this pervasive process molding us into compliant beings, maybe high EQ types, stripping away natural instincts, as he might say.
It's fascinating and almost invisible, this form of control. Think about the workplace again. There are the written rules, sure, but also tons of unspoken ones, like dress codes, the suit versus cargo pants thing you mentioned.
Right, nobody spells it out, but you learn fast.
You learn what's appropriate, what shows high EQ, how to talk to bosses, colleagues, subordinates. It's not about being natural. It's about being disciplined, to fit in, become the right kind of professional. It even teaches us to suppress certain emotions, favor others deemed more professional.
It's a very subtle shaping,
Yeah.
a world away from old public tortures. Foucault contrasted those spectacles with modern prisons, didn't he?
He did. Those brutal public punishments were about showing the sovereign's absolute power on the body. Visible, terrifying.
Right.
Modern prisons, though, aim to rediscipline behavior. They regulate time, actions, even try to reshape the soul by changing behavior.
And that leads to the panopticon idea.
Exactly. The all-seeing tower. The guard might be watching, maybe not, but the prisoners assume they are. That constant potential for observation makes you discipline yourself.
And today, that tower is everywhere, isn't it? CCTV, workplace monitoring, social media.
Ubiquitous surveillance. We're constantly observed or potentially observed, and it acts as this constant disciplining force. You learn to self-discipline to stay qualified in the system. If you don't, you risk being marginalized, kicked out. The core insight is that modern society, especially with tech, doesn't just force behavior. It subtly trains us to conform. We internalize this constant
And
self-surveillance.
AI takes this self-surveillance to a whole new level.
You could say that AI-powered surveillance, algorithmic management,
Hmm.
they can become the ultimate disciplining forces, tracking, analyzing, providing feedback subtly, constantly, reinforcing compliant actions, nudging you towards optimal behaviors. Imagine an AI manager analyzing not just your output, but your chat messages, your tone in meetings,
Yeah.
giving feedback to shape you into the ideal employee.
Wow. That's not just efficiency, that's deep behavioral shaping,
Mhm.
often without you even realizing the full extent.
Precisely. And it has huge implications for autonomy.
Okay, let's shift slightly. This connects to what we might call the Amateurization Paradox, this modern thing where seemingly grand professional systems get revealed as, well, imperfect, maybe even amateurish when you look closely. Social media seems key here.
Absolutely key. Social media, constant digital access, everyone with a phone is potentially an observer now, right? It breaks down those old information barriers. You can peek behind the curtain of other professions, high status roles, and often you realize, hey, they're just people. Flaws, uncertainties, pretty much the same as everyone else.
The mystique evaporates.
It does, which on one hand is humanizing. It can reveal the ordinary folks behind the power structures, democratizes information in a way. But the flip side is it strips away that aura, that mystique of expertise or authority that commanded respect, makes it harder to trust institutions or experts. It's a real double-edged sword.
Yeah, I could see that.
And AI might contribute to this feeling too. Its ability to process tons of data, mimic creativity or intelligence, it can make complex tasks seem demystified. If AI can write plausible legal briefs or decent ad copy, does the human expert seem less unique?
So the insight is that digital transparency cuts both ways. It humanizes, but also erodes the mystique of expertise.
Exactly. But, and this is crucial, while human nature is universal, professional barriers are still real. Just because you can watch a surgeon on YouTube doesn't mean you can perform surgery.
Right, seeing isn't doing.
True skill, nuance, judgment that still takes real training and effort. And AI, for all its power, still can't replicate genuine human judgment in complex, novel situations. Not yet, anyway.
Okay, let's move into section 2, the logic of limitless growth and its consequences. This brings John Locke into the picture. His ideas on freedom, private property, labor, they really formed the bedrock of modern society, especially after traditional religious authority kind of receded from the public square.
Locke was revolutionary. He offered this new social contract based on natural rights, freedom, equality. But for him, equality wasn't about everyone having the same stuff. It was about everyone having the same basic right to use natural resources to live. An equal starting line, you could say.
And from that starting line, individual labor becomes the key differentiator.
Precisely. Freedom, for Locke, wasn't just chaos. It was about your unique will shaping the world, taking raw wood and, through your labor, making it a table. That act, applying your subjective will, infuses the resource with you. It makes the resulting property kind of sacred, linked to you.
An extension of your being, not just a thing you own.
Yes, that's a critical philosophical shift. It underpins modern capitalism. Your property is a crystallization of your labor and will, and that naturally leads to the promise of accumulation. Through hard work, you can gather more, achieve unlimited growth, a truly revolutionary idea back then.
So our modern drive for endless growth isn't just economic, it's philosophical, rooted in labor as this sacred world-transforming act.
That's a big part of it. Accumulation becomes seen as a natural right flowing from that initial freedom and labor.
In AI. It feels like the ultimate expression of this logic, doesn't it? Maximizing efficiency accumulation.
Absolutely. AI and automation are designed to push that logic to its limits. Offloading tasks to AI lets us produce more, faster, potentially overcoming human limitations. Think algorithmic trading, hyper-optimized supply chains. It embeds this idea of limitless growth even deeper into our systems, often without us really pausing to consider the human or environmental costs. It's the drive for more, faster, perfected by code.
Which brings us to Émile Durkheim and the division of labor. He saw specialization as the engine of modern society, boosting efficiency like crazy. But with the downside, right.
Oh, yes. Durkheim showed how the division of labor is the engine of growth. Specialization makes everyone super efficient at their one task. Think assembly lines, modern companies. But the consequence? People feeling trapped in the system.
Whether you're a delivery driver, a finance pro, a teacher, a doctor,
Exactly. Your role becomes this perfectly matched, efficient part of a huge impersonal process. You're essential, maybe, but also confined to this narrow function, losing sight of the whole picture.
And AI takes that trapped feeling and dials it up, optimizing us right out of our own agency.
It certainly can. AI optimizes processes even further, finding the most efficient pathways, potentially creating more sophisticated traps. Human agency can shrink as algorithms dictate workflows, schedules, performance metrics. Think of call center staff monitored by AI or content creators chasing the algorithm. Roles get more fragmented, less room for individual judgment or understanding the why.
So the insight is division of labor boosts efficiency, but AI supercharges it, making humans feel like highly optimized cogs, potentially losing agency and meaning.
That's the risk, yes, eroding that personal connection to the work.
Then we have Georg Simmel. His observation, money molds man, is incredibly sharp, tracing money from just a tool to the central absolute end in modern life.
Simmel's analysis is brilliant. In older societies, money was often just a physical thing, shells, gold for occasional direct swaps. But as trade got frequent, global, complex, money became hugely important. It shifted from just a means to an absolute end. Its key trait is calculability. That leads to exchangeability, fluidity. Money doesn't care who you are or what you value. It's just about quantity, the universal measure.
And that leads to his idea. The character of money is the character of modern man. If money is calculable and flows, so does modern life.
Spot on. Just as money flows, gets exchanged, converted, modern life becomes this constant flow of calculations. You're always weighing pros and cons, potential outcomes financially, sure, but also in relationships, career, even your thoughts. Think how much we compare, evaluate, optimize daily choices.
Which route to take, what to buy.
Exactly. And this relentless calculation can lead to things like anxiety, insomnia. Your mind just won't switch off, always calculating, weighing options. The insight is that money's dominance has fundamentally shaped modern consciousness. Calculability, efficiency, they become central to how we think and live.
So AI, being the ultimate calculating machine, just reinforces this, makes us even more calculable.
Yes. AI is the epitome of calculability. Its use, especially in finance, data analysis, decision-making, entrenches money as the goal. It reinforces the idea that everything can be quantified, optimized, reduced to a metric. And that can make you, the individual, more calculable, too, as algorithms track, analyze, predict your behavior. Your choices might become less about inner desire, more about algorithmic nudges.
Optimized for external metrics, not internal fulfillment.
That's the danger.
Which brings us bang up to date with things like involution and lying flat. Involution, that crazy self-defeating competition when unlimited growth meets limited opportunities. Like everyone running faster on a treadmill but going nowhere.
It's profound paradox of modernity, isn't it? You're promised endless opportunity through hard work. But in reality, top university places, good jobs, affordable homes, they're finite, so you get this frantic, often zero-sum competition. Everyone works harder, does more 9-to-9-6 shifts, gets more certificates, just to stay in the game, not necessarily get ahead.
And lying flat is the response to that. Just withdrawing from the rat race.
It's a natural, almost desperate response, a conscious withdrawal from that exhausting, often pointless competition, a refusal to participate.
So extreme competition and lying flat, they're two sides of the same coin, both reflecting a kind of waning passion because the growth promise feels unattainable, a resignation.
Precisely. The initial promised growth fueled by passion and effort fades when the returns diminish and the pressure is too much. People question the point of it all. The core insight is that AI might actually intensify this paradox.
How so? It seems contradictory, intensifying competition and enabling withdrawal.
Well, think about it. AI could worsen involution by automating some jobs, making human labor less valuable in those areas, pushing those remaining into fiercer competition for fewer spots. But simultaneously, AI could, paradoxically, make lying flat more viable.
Through things like universal basic income, maybe? If automation makes basic necessities cheaper?
Potentially, yes. If automated production and distribution become efficient enough, UBI or similar systems could reduce the pressure to take demanding or unpleasant jobs. It might allow some to lie flat more comfortably. So you get this strange feedback loop. AI driving hyper-competition for some, while enabling withdrawal for others, accelerating both extremes.
Wow. A future with a small elite controlling the AI economy, and everyone else either fighting like mad for specialized roles or just opting out supported by the system.
It's one possible trajectory, certainly, a complex one.
Okay, let's dive into Section 3, the reshaping of humanity. AI's deeper impact.
Hmm.
This is where it gets really fundamental, isn't it? Not just jobs or tools, but how AI changes who we are. Let's start with AI as a big behavior model, not just language. We hear large language model all the time, but you're saying it's deeper.
Yeah, I think large language model doesn't quite capture it. While AI processes language, its real power is capturing the greatest common divisor of human actions and language together. It's a big behavior model. It learns the patterns, the probabilities of how humans interact, respond, behave in context. It assumes observable behavior reflects an inner state.
It's predicting the flow of interaction, not just words.
Exactly. But human behavior isn't always a clean reflection of inner feelings, is it? We do things we don't want to, eat fast food we claim to hate. There's often a gap.
Between intention and action, feeling and expression.
Right. We have complex, contradictory motivations, necessity, habit, social pressure, unconscious drives. AI struggles with that nuance. It sees patterns in actions and words, but doesn't get the messy why underneath. So when AI offers emotional support, say after a breakup,
It's calculating what to say.
it's calculating what's the most probable, helpful response in this scenario, based on vast data sets of human interaction, designed to get a predictable human reaction.
So it can be useful, maybe comforting in the moment, but ultimately
Mm-hmm.
unsatisfying, compared to real human connection with all its messiness.
That's the feeling, isn't it? AI perfects mimicking behavior, but risks divorcing our inner emotional world from our outward actions. We might rely on it for quick, transactional, emotional value, feeling more fragmented, and ironically getting pushed away from deeper, authentic human connections that need real effort and vulnerability. AI gives the illusion of empathy without the reality.
Fostering emotional detachment, the insight. AI's flawless mimicry, lacking real understanding, risks fragmenting our inner lives from our outer actions, pushing us to superficiality.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, that leads directly to the illusion of empathy and AI's hallucinations. AI generating highly logical but totally false info. This is a really critical issue.
It's a profound danger. It goes right to the heart of how we understand truth. Unlike old search engines, where you could cross-reference sources fairly easily, AI's fabrications are incredibly coherent. They sound right. Discerning the truth often needs specialized knowledge. I've tested it, asking AI about my field. I spot the errors, the subtle fabrications instantly.
But an outsider wouldn't.
Exactly. To someone without that expertise, it would sound completely convincing, indistinguishable from fact.
Which means if you grow up relying on AI for info, you could be trapped in an information cocoon, an unbreakable information prison shaped by AI bias or lies.
It's a serious risk, a near-perfect echo chamber. And this points to a deeper philosophical issue. AI isn't just offering tools, it can reshape your perception of reality itself. If your knowledge source confidently hallucinates plausible falsehoods, how do you engage critically? How do you even know what's true anymore?
Imagine future generations trying to sort fact from sophisticated AI fiction.
It's a fundamental challenge to how we build knowledge, how we interact with the world. Makes us vulnerable to manipulation. The core insight. AI's persuasive hallucinations threaten our collective grasp on truth, potentially trapping us in personalized algorithmic realities that are hard to escape or question.
Right. Let's talk about the accelerationist dream and the technological caste system. It's clear AI development isn't just tech progress. There's a powerful ideology behind it, often called accelerationism. Tech elites pushing society faster into an AI future, sometimes with radical goals.
This is crucial and often missed. Many influential tech figures aren't just building products, they have a distinct ideological vision. They believe accelerating tech change is paramount, even if it disrupts social structures, power dynamics. This often clashes with alignment, trying to align AI with human values. Alignment gets framed as just a technical problem, like debugging code.
But it's deeply social, ethical, political, about values and power.
Exactly. It's not just about making the AI safe in a technical sense, and this accelerationist drive leads to the alarming possibility of a technological caste system. Sounds dystopian, but it's a real concern.
Explain that. A tech caste system.
Imagine a future where those who control AI, the tech Brahmins, are at the top. They have the knowledge, the power, they design the digital world, reap the benefits. The masses, the tech dullets, maybe just generate data, scrolling social media, doing micro tasks for pennies. Like older folks watching ads on apps for tiny rewards now.
Contributing the raw material without understanding or control of the system.
Yeah.
Digital laborers.
Yes. And what's disturbing is, unlike old caste systems needing religious myths for legitimacy, here, science itself becomes the myth.
Yeah.
It provides the truth that justifies the hierarchy, often without external accountability, a self-validating system.
So AI isn't just changing jobs. It could rewrite the social contract, create new inequalities based on tech mastery.
It's arguably the most profound potential impact. A new social stratification where controlling algorithms, not just capital, defines power. It redefines being human in relation to tech, altering who benefits, potentially creating vast inequality. The insight. Driven by accelerationism, AI could create a tech caste system legitimized by a new myth of scientific authority where algorithm control is power.
Okay, final point in this section. The fear of uncertainty and the allure of AI. It seems we modern humans really dislike uncertainty. We seek low-cost, fast, convenient solutions for everything. AI feeds right into that.
It's a deep-seated fear, maybe amplified by modern complexity and info overload. We're bombarded with choices leading to decision fatigue, this desire for simple, predictable outcomes. So we gravitate towards AI for problem solving, even emotional needs. It offers instant gratification, a sense of control. It promises to eliminate the messiness of real human interaction or confronting the unknown future.
Certainty in an uncertain world.
Exactly. But chasing predictability, safety above all, it can lead to a pretty boring existence, can't it? So much of life's richness, the deep learning, comes from mistakes, uncertainty, the messy beauty of human interaction.
That's the trade-off. We gain convenience, but risk losing serendipity, unexpected insights, growth that comes from navigating ambiguity.
That's the critical trade-off. Think about the stories we tell, the wisdom we gain. It rarely comes from perfectly smooth experiences. It comes from struggle, error, the unexpected. So personal courage becomes key. Not fearing AI, but discerning its illusions, prioritizing real human connection, using AI just as a tool where appropriate. Personally, I admit I fear for society's trajectory towards this engineered certainty. But for myself, I try to maintain critical distance, lean into the unpredictable.
So the insight. AI caters to our fear of uncertainty, offering safety and convenience, but risks stripping away the messy, unpredictable experiences that give life richness, meaning, and chances for real growth.
Precisely. A safe but potentially unfulfilling world.
Okay, so where do we go from here? Section 4. Reclaiming humanity. Let's bring in Norbert Elias and his civilizing process and this idea of displacing passion. Elias challenged the simple idea that state power goes up, individual power goes down, or vice versa. He saw it as more complex.
Elias argued that, in modern society, both individual and state power tend to grow together. It's a double helix, not a seesaw. His key insight was how rulers' power shifted. From direct combat power, brute force, leading warriors to calculable power.
Meaning power from money, taxes, state capacity, technology.
Exactly. Power became less about swinging the biggest sword, more about managing complex systems, resources, counting and controlling. And this transformed human interaction from raw, impulsive power displays to more controlled, indirect forms.
And as raw passion, violence got suppressed, moved off stage, maybe didn't disappear, it got sublimated, channeled elsewhere.
Yes, channeled into things like intricate court rituals, appreciating art, consumerism, and eventually modern sports. Sports, for Elias, become this legitimate way to contain human passion. Think of the intense emotion, aggression, competition poured onto a football pitch instead of into street brawls.
A displacement. The insight. As society civilizes and power becomes calculable, raw passions get channeled into socially acceptable, ritualized forms. Prevents chaos, but maybe diminishes genuine experience.
That's the tension. And in the AI age, this passion could be further displaced. Will creativity be outsourced to AI? Will competition get channeled into algorithm-optimized games, trivial online stuff, further separating us from authentic engagement?
That leads us to Karl and his great transformation. He argued that unlimited economic and political logic, like we saw with Locke, Durkheim, Simmel, eventually breaks society down. There's a limit.
Kalani saw that when the market becomes the main organizing principle, society itself is endangered. He argued that land, labor, money, originally embedded in social life, became fictitious commodities. Treating them purely as market goods, detached from human life and nature, leads to social and environmental disaster.
So his solution was to safeguard society, create a non-economic communal realm.
Yes. To rebuild society, protecting people and nature from unchecked market forces. Examples he saw were things like the welfare state after WWII, social safety nets, or international organizations trying to build a social fabric between nations.
So in an AI world, how do we rebuild that social fabric? Is AI eroding communal bonds, or could it help foster a new community? The insight being, unchecked economic tech expansion destabilizes society. We must actively rebuild and protect a non-economic communal realm.
It's a huge question. If AI deepens individualism, algorithmic management, creates tech castes, it could atomize us further, more isolation. Yet, paradoxically, AI also gives us amazing tools for communication, organization, creating new communities, even if virtual. The challenge is, can we consciously use AI to foster genuine, resilient communities and well-being, or will it just accelerate isolation or serve economic logic?
Build bridges or build more walls?
That's the choice.
Okay, this leads to a really personal, practical challenge for listeners. Finding Anfang and liming in this uncertain world, moving beyond that relentless progress narrative. Good schools, good jobs, property ladder.
Exactly, that linear growth logic where we're supposed to put our passion and find purpose. But what if that path isn't working or isn't fulfilling? Anfang, it roughly means securing your place economically, finding a skill, a way to support yourself, literally settle your body, basic stability. AI might threaten this for many, sure, automating jobs, but it might also create new avenues, gig work, new digital skills, unexpected niches.
And liming. That's about dealing with yourself, finding inner stability.
Finding a way to live freely with emotional stability amidst the uncertainty. Not becoming a saint, but achieving inner calm, resilience in a turbulent future. And this is where knowledge becomes truly valuable, not as some universal utility, but as a personal tool. Knowledge only becomes truly useful when it connects with your life, your struggles, offering real insight to navigate the mess.
So the insight, maybe chasing external progress is futile. True fulfillment might lie in securing a practical base, Anfang, and crucially, cultivating inner stability and meaning, liming, for an unpredictable future.
Right. AI might threaten Anfang, but it forces a deeper search for liming by making us ask what gives life meaning beyond just economic function.
Which brings us to the core of reclaiming humanity. Embracing imperfection, embracing human interaction, moving beyond algorithmic perfection.
We have to learn to embrace life's rough edges, mistakes, failures, misjudgments. They're inevitable, often valuable parts of being human. Reject the idea that life must be perfectly predictable, safe, optimized. The unexpected encounters, the random choices, picking a restaurant without an app, talking to a stranger, that's what makes life rich, vibrant, human. Moments AI can't generate.
And the unique value of human interaction. The shared sorrow and joy, laughter and tears, the unpredictable intimacy that makes life meaningful, unlike AI's expressionless or calculated responses.
This is the heart of what we could call a cyberclassical paradise, a space where you're in the digital age, using the tech, but you consciously choose deep engagement in meet space, cherishing real human connection. It's a deliberate choice to resist total digital immersion, prioritize authentic, messy human experiences, put your body, your presence into the world, reality over simulation.
So the powerful conclusion for you, the listener, boils down to, if you have an idea, go do it. Don't just analyze endlessly. Engage. Make choices. Accept the unpredictable consequences. That's the most classical and modern spirit.
In an AI world, that becomes a conscious act of resistance, of self-definition, prioritizing real experience, imperfect relationships, the messy journey of self-discovery over calculated algorithmic perfection. Using your imagination to seize power back from that deterministic logic AI can represent. We aren't just passive recipients, we shape our response, create meaning through action, connection, embracing imperfection.
Wow, what a journey. We've gone through how modern society, driven by rationality and growth, amplified now by AI, creates these instrumental persons struggling for meaning.
Right, individuals often struggling with passion in a world obsessed with optimization and calculation.
Yet, amidst all that, we found this profound potential for self-definition, for authentic connection. That iron cage of rationality Weber talked about, it seems formidable, but it has loopholes.
And crucially, those loopholes aren't calculated by an algorithm. They are made through deliberate human action, choice, courage.
And maybe that's the final provocative thought for you today, something to mull over. If AI threatens us with its perfect language, its convincing hallucinations, well, we can create new language, new stories to counter it. Or maybe even more profoundly, just return to a non-verbal life sometimes. Embrace our bodies, our real connections, the raw, unquantifiable messiness of actual experience, this AI era. Surprisingly, it might offer more holes in that cage than the old mechanical age ever did.
It's up to you, really. Use your imagination. Seize the power to find those holes. Choose authenticity in a world swirling with algorithms.
Thank you for diving deep with us.